Body language and subconscious behavior are two of the most important things when it comes to attraction. However, they are incredibly hard to pick up on. You see, everyone knows the basics, like when someone makes eye contact or when someone keeps glancing at you, but these things go deeper and can even be broken down into various facets of an encounter. The meet and greet part of any encounter is usually the most stressful and also one of the first things you need to master. If you manage to make a great first impression, you have a foot in the door. However, most men have to wait days or even weeks to figure out if a woman likes them or not. This is simply because they tend to miss some of the obvious signs she often gives when you just meet. The main goal of this video is not to help you get a woman, but to help you analyze whether or not a woman likes you from the onset or the first greeting. You see, there are a plethora of things that can happen at this moment. Some show attraction, others might show aversion. But once you can spot whether or not she likes you, you have a foot in the door. But first, you need to put in the work from your side, which means making a good first impression. Why you need to make a good first impression. In the psychological communities, there's been an ongoing debate on the importance of making a good first impression. In fact, many people don't understand exactly how important and valuable it is when you can make a great first impression. A study done in the early 2000s has shown that people make their complete judgment of you in about 90 seconds after meeting you. Now, this analysis is not always accurate, but that doesn't matter. What does matter is that the other person will firmly believe their own analysis of you, and if you've made a bad impression, you'll always be swimming against the tide. By making a good first impression, you're essentially eliminating some of the burdens that you often need to deal with. And this includes things like having to work harder to prove yourself. When it comes to women and dating, this is even more important and valuable. And you'll notice just how empowering it is when you make a great first impression. In fact, when you've mastered how to enter the unknown with confidence instead of fear, you're also more likely to have women react in certain ways when they greet you. You see, when someone's good, it can be felt, and others will naturally gravitate to this incredibly powerful energy. Women tend to fall completely flat on their heels by this overwhelming energy, and it immediately puts them into their natural feminine state. With this being said, we should look at some of the most powerful signs you're bound to notice when it comes to a woman liking you off the bat. Number 1, sense of nervousness. One of the most obvious signs that you're bound to notice first is that of nervousness. Now, many of you might say that women are naturally nervous when they go out and meet someone for the first time. However, this is not always true, and upon seeing that she might be a person of high value, she immediately stops being nervous. You see, when a woman is nervous, it means that she actually cares about how this encounter will go. It also suggests that she's worried that you might not like what you see. Now, the only reason why a woman would naturally be nervous about things like these is when she's the one who also likes you. A sense of nervousness can be picked up in various body language models, and some of them will be discussed in the rest of this video. However, you should feel her nervous energy and see that she might be a little jittery. This is not the time for you to ask her if she's fine, but rather to just allow her to settle. In the back of your mind, you can think of this video as being the first sign that she likes you, but it actually starts even before you even meet. Number 2, she goes out of her way for you. With the modern rise of technology and how things are set up, women have become empowered to such a degree that they expect men to be the one who goes out of their way more frequently. However, in many of our videos, we've mentioned just how important it is to be a high-value man and to make sure women understand this. Once she realizes you are high value and you're not here to chase her, she'll become the one chasing the relationship. This can start very early, even when you're busy with the texting phase of the relationship. Since life is incredibly busy, women don't often compromise, and they understand that if one guy doesn't fit her schedule, there are many more men who will. But one of the most important signs of attraction is when she's willing to compromise. This means that she'll go out of her way to ensure that she gets to see you. Number 3, she is hesitant. Another part of being a little nervous is the fact that nervousness often translates to someone becoming hesitant. They're unsure if they can or must do something, but this is only fueled by her fear of being judgmental. Once again, it comes down to the same critical point. You see, the only reason for this kind of behavior is that she wants to make sure you are someone who doesn't judge her or you want to be thinking badly of her. You need to realize that the moment a woman starts caring about you and your opinion, you have basically established a form of attraction. If she doesn't like you, whatever you think of her becomes obsolete and she'll immediately revert back to her natural personality. If you've ever experienced the infamous butterflies in your stomach, you have also become a victim of these kinds of behaviors. This could manifest itself in her being hesitant to hug you or not knowing if she should greet you by the hand. As a man, the solution is simple, and you should go in for the hug to at least establish a little bit of physical contact. Number 4, she doesn't mind physical touch. Another truly fascinating aspect of dating is that people, especially women, tend to avoid physical touch as much as possible. The reason for this is that the world has become a very scary place and you don't always know what the intentions of someone are. Since many men are weak and would snatch at an opportunity to touch a woman, many women are avoiding this. However, when a woman's willing to make physical contact and break that touch barrier, it's a very good sign. In most cases, this will be a simple hug, but can even be a kiss on the cheek. The reason women do this is because they're naturally physical beings, and women truly love it when a man they trust can be touched or touches them. Physical touch is also something more and more women are avoiding during the initial phases of any relationship, which, once again, stems from all the above-mentioned reasons for how weak men would act when this is something that happens. So, if you notice that she's willing to engage in physical touch, it's one of the most important things that can happen. This physical touch breaks another barrier, which allows you and her to be more comfortable around one another. Number 5, she makes eye contact. Eye contact is one of the funniest things, especially when it comes to women. You see, women tend to be shyer, and when they like a person, they might not be willing to hold eye contact for too long. However, she will feel this inclination and need to make eye contact with you, which is why you might find glimpses of this happening. When someone makes eye contact with you, especially when talking, it means you have their full, undivided attention. This is something that you're looking for, especially since it does directly mean that she likes you. You see, a person will not be fully engaged or give you their full span of attention when they don't like you in some way. From your side, you should also make eye contact with a woman as much as possible. Even though many influencers will tell you that it can intimidate someone, this doesn't matter. You see, intimidating someone doesn't necessarily scare them, and when it comes to many women, they actually like it. It can also lead to tons of sexual tension building up. Number 6, active listening. The main part that will eventually lead to the relationship being established is the communication phase of the interaction. You see, communication is very fascinating, and whilst many people avoid it, it's the only way to truly establish and cultivate relationships. However, women are notorious for having their attention slide. The reason for this is because men are not good at conversations. Many men tend to only talk about themselves, whereas others tend to cross-examine a woman by bombarding her with questions. What you need to become is a great storyteller, and to understand that people love to be sold a fantasy. This is one of those small psychological hacks that will dramatically change the way in which you go about making small talk. Once you manage this, you'll see that you hold the attention of women much better. In fact, active listening is one of the primary signs of attraction, and a woman will only listen to you if she does like you in some capacity. Ideally, you also want her to be very responsive, which means that she should also be the one asking you a variety of questions. This ensures the ebb and flow of the conversation, and both parties are satisfied with the amount of attention they are getting. Number 7, she actually compliments you. How many times have you met a woman and none of you compliment the other? In fact, this is something that's become so prevalent and has completely changed the world of dating. Nobody's willing to compliment anyone else, which includes people not even giving compliments to their close friends. As a man, it's almost an obligation to make at least one good observation and compliment a woman on this when you meet her. It immediately sets the tone for the rest of the encounter, and it not only shows a little bit of class, but also changes the mood to something a little more positive. However, complimenting a woman doesn't show if she likes you or not. What you're likely to find by complimenting her is that a woman is more inclined to return the favor her and compliment you. If you manage to get a few compliments without even saying a single word, you can also be guaranteed that she does like you. Keep in mind that not all compliments are as direct as you might think, and women can also imply compliments. If you happen to get a lot of compliments from women, it's a clear sign that they like you, but we should also warn you not to fish for these compliments. This means that you should not try to boost your own ego or continue to brag about your achievements. These compliments are great in the long run, but on the first date or when you meet a woman, you want physical compliments. Number 8. Her body language is open. Perhaps the easiest way to discern whether or not a woman likes you has to do with the way her body language is used. You see, body language is one of the most fascinating concepts, and when you use open body language, people tend to feel more comfortable around you as well. However, the default for most people is to revert to close and guarded body language. Thanks to all the distrust and issues created in society, displaying guarded body language is a great way for someone to protect themselves and not allow others to peek into their mindsets. The main principle of open body language is when you know that she's not crossing anything and she simply feels a little more welcoming around you. Since women are notoriously very guarded individuals, it's hard to get them to open up. If you manage to notice that she does open up her body language as frequently, she's definitely interested in you. And it's one of those things that simply signals a ton of attraction between the two of you. Open body language is perhaps one of the most important signs, especially when it comes to the world of dating and attraction. Number 9. She frequently tries to connect with you. Only so many things can happen on a first date. However, what happens after the date is the real telltale sign of whether she's attracted to you. You see, once the date has concluded, she'll be high on dopamine, but this doesn't mean that she directly likes you. She might just be fascinated by the idea of you, which is fine as well. A few days later, things will have sunk in and women will be in a better position to understand who they are and how they actually feel. It's usually when men don't give a woman enough time to digest the date that she might want to run away and think he's desperate. After a couple days, she'll either like you or she won't. If she likes you, you can be sure that she'll want to schedule the next date as soon as possible. Even when she has a busy schedule, she's willing to make some time for you to show you just how important she believes you are. This could be her calling you frequently, or a myriad of other ways we can communicate with each other in the modern era. The fact of the matter is that she'll push to see you and even find every possible way from her side to make this a reality. Once this begins to happen, you can be pretty sure and confident that she does like you. The first meeting and date can reveal a lot about a person and relationship. If you notice these signs, it's extremely positive. But as a man, you also need to do your part. We recommend checking out one of the next videos to see how you can influence and even speed up this attraction process.